Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley, and this is episode number 120 of the Corona Diaries. Thank y'all so much for tuning in this week. We've got an absolutely great show for you coming up, so let us lollygag no longer. First up, as always, I'll be speaking to America's next door neighbor, Samuel T. Harter over there in East Hollywood. I put up a Twitter poll, and y'all voted for the next douchey energy drink that I'll be testing out. Spoiler, it's the Sour Apple Crunk Juice, and as predicted in the episode, it's got real sugar in it, and I ended up completely crashing and falling asleep at like 8:45 last night. If I've learned anything from this whole experiment, it's that I personally need the sugar-free formula if the energy drink is going to be effective. Jesus Christ. I cannot believe I have actual opinions on this now. Anyway, that's coming up. Plus, a teacher in Florida got in a fight with her students in a McDonald's parking lot. It's awesome, and we talk about angry teachers all throughout this episode. Anyway, next up, after Sam, we're going to be speaking to longtime friend of the show, friend of life, comedian and musician Rick Wood over there in his home studio in Hollywood proper. Rick just put out a brand new music album with his band, The Earth Satellites. It rules. He is going to tell us all about that. Plus, we've got another gender reveal party disaster, and we're going to talk about some more hilarious superstitions that I found in this old Alabama ghost book. Can't wait for y'all to hear that talk with Rick. And then, of course, we land the plane, as always, back at Disgraceland Studios with our sweet baby boy, the Crystal Pistol, Carter Glascock. Carter and I talk about this racist asshole who died and left his dog $5 million. And then also a bunch of racist assholes took over the YouTube comment section of a funny song from the 80s. And of course, speaking of comment section, we got the Kangs of Bro Country. Florida Georgia Line is our jam of the day. So stay tuned. All that and more is coming right up because the Goods from the Woods, Corona Diaries number 120 starts now. Calling in now from the City of Angels, it's America's next door neighbor, Samuel T. Harter. What's up, dog?
Howdy, neighbor. Not too much, just chilling.
Oh, man.
You know, just doing the only thing you can do, which is sit inside my house.
Yeah. Well, I want to start today by saying I rarely do this except for, fun stuff. So I ran a poll on Twitter to help me decide because I ran into a rich, deep, diverse cache of energy drinks at the gas station I went to most recently.
Yeah, of course.
And so I had trouble deciding. So I picked 4 out of the, I think, 8 that I got, and all different brands, and put it up on Twitter. I said, what energy drink should I taste test when I record the Goods from the Woods later today? And by a margin of 47% overall from 86 votes, the answer came back to me in a brand that I did not know still existed, and that is Crunk.
Is this the same one as Crunk Juice from Lil Jon in 2005?
Yeah. So it's the same brand. I don't think Lil Jon is still invested in anymore. But
yeah, it was probably expensive to pay him for the advertising.
So, but I didn't know they even still existed. And if you look at their Wikipedia article, the flavor that I'm about to try is not even listed as one of their flavors.
Damn, they need to update the wiki.
They're slacking. But yeah, this is the same. And you know what? I come to find out that Crunk was invented by the same guy who his name is or was Sidney Frank, and he is the same guy who is responsible for importing Jägermeister into the United States in the 80s.
Oh, good. So he's the king of shit.
Yeah. So he's the king of Jägermeister and Grey Goose too, apparently. So but
so he's a fancy rich man.
Well, he was. He it turns out he died on an airplane, which that's interesting. But
that's the way you want to go, dude. Closer to heaven.
But yeah, he's the guy who was responsible for Crunk, and I saw it at the store, and I was like, Crunk, really? Wow. Because, I mean...
people still say that word?
I mean, we did a whole episode on the... 2 episodes, really, a 2-parter on the year 2005, and I don't even think we mentioned it, but yeah, this is such a relic that I was shocked that they're still making it, but apparently. Oh, and by the way, last week I tried the Rays, and I told this to Nick Thomas and Dorado when I recorded with them, but I'll tell you that shit was crazy. That shit like fucked my head up. Like
the kind of shit that you could destroy a town with.
Yeah, potentially. I get why they call it that, because effectively I had the same like kind of head swimminess as you would get from being drunk, but I was laser focused. So it was really weird.
The hardcore caffeine does that to you for some reason. You start getting a great buzz, but then you're also like, and what can I do with my time?
So I'm taking it a little bit easier on this one. This one only has 182 milligrams of caffeine. So this is quite a big step down from the 300 of Apollo flavored Rays. But anyway, here we go. Alrighty. It smells like sour apple. I'm pouring it into a glass.
Color?
Piss yellow, just like you'd expect.
Classic Red Bull color.
Like apples. That famous color that apples are.
Maybe it's the nasty yellow kind.
Oh, yeah.
Tastes like an energy drink.
Oh, you know what? I will say they put more work into making this sour than the Bang sour apples. This actually does have kind of a Warheads effect where you're just like, oh, this is pretty damn sour.
Dude, if it's a thing that exists, you could be an energy drink sommelier.
I think I already am. I think you're
not a professional though.
Well, no, not yet. But I did want to say a shout out to our friend Paul in England, who made me a spreadsheet of all of the energy drinks that I've done so far. And I'm gonna, I guess, get in contact with him. But I assume it's cool if I put that up on our Twitter at the Good Spot so people can see it. But he's given me all I have to do is go in and give my ratings, which is kind of hard because thinking back on all of them, my rating is like, yeah, they're all like not as good as soda, and they make my head feel good.
Yeah, you don't drink energy drinks for the taste. That's the problem with trying to rate them.
It's like how
how jacked up are you going to get off this?
Right. Well, it's like how
all we want to know.
Yeah. Well, it's like how jacked up are you going to get off this, but also how manageable is the disgusting level?
Yeah, I guess that's the main point. Because energy drinks do hit that point where you're just like, I am consuming a chemical right now.
Right.
There's nothing to hide that from me.
Right. And then it's just a matter of like how well did they mask the fact that there's nothing natural about this in any way.
Well, there's the weird part of the crunk. I looked at the can. Does your can claim it's made with real cane sugar?
It does. Yeah, I did see that, which I think with the energy drinks, there's some, they have to maintain some level of kayfabe that it might be something you would do before working out, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So even when they're gonna use real sugar, which so far, in my experience, like the Rip-Its, for instance, those have high fructose corn syrup in them, I'm sure. But the fact that it has real sugar leads to like a pretty big high and then a pretty devastating crash afterwards. So I tend to like the ones with zero sugar just because they kind of let you down easy. They give you a long fade out, like a studio fade, as opposed to just like a big like all of a sudden I have to go lay down kind of thing. So
yeah, smash cut to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'm not super jazzed about the real cane sugar. I was kind of hoping for, give me more chemicals, frankly.
Yeah, you're right. Why cut it down? Yeah,
but it is very sour. I'll say that. They've done an interesting thing here and actually delivering on what was promised, which is more than you can say for something like the Sour Heads Bang or whatever, which was not sour at all.
Yeah, maybe they just added all the chemicals and they were like, fuck, this is sour as shit. And they were just like, well, add sour to the flavor. Make it a feature.
Wow. Crunk is currently sold in Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina, Ohio, and Tennessee. So Okay.
It's a Southern thing,
I guess, but it's made in Ohio, which is weird.
Maybe that's just where the energy drink factories are.
Yeah, probably. That's where the Jägermeister comes ashore. They make Crunk in the back in a tank.
Ugh. Jägermeister's so gross. I used to work with a guy who liked to take shots of Jägermeister when we were working the kitchen. And it was so hard to shoot Jägermeister and then stand in front of a hot ass stove and cook burgers. Suck shit.
Yeah.
Licorice liqueur. Ugh. This guy was a hardcore alcoholic too. I was shocked he would even drink stuff like that.
Well, they always like kind
too
of
sugary.
I remember seeing one of them metal behind the musics where they were like, yeah, we were drinking Jaeger all night. Like it was this like hard rock drink. And then the first time I ever had it, I was like, this is liqueur. This is like black licorice liqueur, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, I think the thing is you can drink Jaeger all night because it's not like a 40% alcohol like normal liquor is. It's like fucking 30 or less or something.
Right,
so I guess you could stay up all night drinking nasty liquor and doing blow or something.
Yeah.
It'd probably be fun for like 3 hours and then the rest of your life would suck forever.
Yeah. Although as I'm saying this, I did in high school drink almost exclusively Southern Comfort, which is also like 35% alcohol. It's like barely a liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That stuff's also disgusting.
That is the U.S. version of Jägermeister, where you hear like, oh, Janis Joplin drank nothing but this stuff, and then you try it and you're like, it's tasty. Like you think it's gonna be. I
understand why she drank herself to death.
Right? It's just it was really easy to do apparently.
Yeah, that's one of those liquors too that if you ask people like what's something you could never drink again, that's always at the top of the list. Because people think it tastes good at first and they drink so much of it and have the worst barf and hangover of their life.
That's the thing, man. Coming back the other direction, it's not a friendly neighbor at all. You're just like, oh
no. And that's why Jaeger is gross. You don't want to taste your stomach fluids with black licorice. Jesus Christ.
I actually went so I've been I think I mentioned on the show I've been going on walks pretty much every day with my mom, and
nice. You're a good son.
Yeah, it's fun, get out and stuff like that. But we ran out of places in Auburn, and so we decided to go out to Waverly, which is this little town just north of Auburn, and it's where they have the Waverly Boogie, which I host every normal year and stuff like that. And it's just like this cool little kind of artsy town. And there's this restaurant out there called the Waverly Local. They sell really good jelly, actually. They have different kinds of jelly. And they had this one kind that I wanted to get a hold of, which was a vanilla Satsuma bourbon flavored jelly. I got to try a little bit of, and I was like, I want a jar of that shit to bring back to LA. And so I went out there and I walked inside, and the thing about the building that it's in, it used to be a concert, like a music venue called Waverly Music Hall. And that was the first place I ever blacked out.
That's good. That's a fun memory. And it was sort of memory.
But it's just weird walking in there because now it's like this really fancy restaurant. And
dude,
it used to be like a shitty like an old like hardware store, I think. And so it literally had a hayloft, and that's where we were all sitting, and that's where I fucking passed out for just completely because I was drinking Southern Comfort, and I passed out during the Pine Hill Haints and woke up during the Caterpillars of the Community. Like those were the two bands. And then later I was outside on the ground, like I was doing the time jumping thing. I was like, oh, this is what that Dave Attell joke is about.
You ever black out when you're drinking, or as I call it, time travel? Yeah. You're in a bar, you're drinking, you black out, you wake up, you're in another bar, you're drinking, you black out, you wake up, you're in McDonald's. Working there about 3 years, still not assistant manager. You want to quit, but you're banging that girl on the fry later.
Dave Attell makes a lot of sense right now.
yeah. But it was funny because they took the hayloft out, so now it's like I said, it's just like a fancy restaurant. Damn. So it's so weird just to be in that space. Where do these people go to drink SoCo 100 proof?
Ugh,
that was the problem.
100 proof. That's even more hardcore than regular whiskey.
That was the as they say, there's your problem right there as I I got Soko. Oh God, was it this sketchy? There was I think I've talked about him on the show. There was this dude, his name was Dustin, and he sold things on eBay for a living and bought liquor for children. And that was
yes, you have brought this up to me before.
I'm pretty sure we asked it. I mean, I know for a fact. I was like, "Oh, can you get us a bottle of Soko?" And he got Southern Comfort 100. And I didn't treat it with the proper respect. I gotta be honest. I was like, "Oh, this is the same." And so
well, when you're a youngin', you don't understand proofs. You don't understand what a percentage of alcohol means or is.
No. So that's where I ran into trouble.
It's fun to have memories of places you got way too fucked up and just I have this spot in Austin. The last time I went to Austin and did comedy, there's like this college co-op where students live. And when I was a youngin', like the age where you should be at a college co-op, I saw Andrew WK there during South by Southwest.
Whoa.
I was totally hammered off Original Recipe 4 Loco and on heroin.
Whoa, Jesus.
And just crazy fucked up. And then when I went back like a year and a half ago to do stand-up, I got booked at a show in that same room, and I just was having like Vietnam style flashbacks to how fucked up I was that night.
Jesus fuck. Oh, I just saw there's green tea in this too. Cool.
They have a grape acai flavor.
Oh, they're trying to do that vitamin water shit.
Yeah, for all the Southerners that like acai bowls.
Oh, by the way, I have a brand new, speaking of drugs, I have a brand new, I accidentally ingested drugs story. Do you remember that bit we were doing a while back?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For people listening that maybe didn't hear that, when we started this, I told the story about a friend of mine accidentally smoking crack, and then we started getting lots of stories at the Goods Pod of people, at various times thinking they were doing one kind of drug and then doing another. This is actually more
happens to the best of us.
Yeah, well, this one's fucked up, dude. I'm not gonna lie. This one is not that exactly. This is more like being drugged, which is very different.
I mean, it's pretty much the same.
Well, there's something almost jovial about my original story where it's my friend who's sitting there and doesn't notice that the weed pipe has turned to a crack pipe and then gloriously hits the crack pipe because he's drunk and an idiot. Like, there's something about that where it's like, oh man, you're a party warrior, dude. But like, oh, you accidentally smoked crack. It's crazy, right? But this is just fucking horrifying. So this was sent in to us, our friend Captain Fat Strong. He wrote me on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoodspod, and said, "Hey Rivers, are you still interested in the taking drugs without knowing bit?" And I said, yes.
Always. Yes,
absolutely.
Always.
And if you have one, let us know. Although this is, like I said, this is horrifying. This happened on Halloween. I was invited to walk with my friend and her kids going on a socially distanced trick-or-treat. Her husband made long wooden sticks with buckets on the end for them, and we just walked up and down her street. So that sounds nice, a little like hang out with a couple friends, seems like you're doing the right thing. Afterwards,
put stuff on a stick. That's good. People like that.
Yeah. Afterwards, she put her kids to bed and invited me to hang out. We went into her backyard and she poured me a glass of rosé. 10 minutes later, I couldn't feel my body anymore. At this point, At this point, she led me inside to the recliner couch and pushed me back, telling me, "Just go to sleep."
What the fuck?
At this point, panic took over. Yeah, and I'm freaking out. So for the next hour, I'm fighting the paralysis. I noticed that she keeps setting a timer on her phone. I finally make it to my feet and stumble to get my shoes on. All the while, she keeps trying to get me to lay down. "Just go to sleep. Just go to sleep," she says. I make it out of my car and hop into the passenger seat so the cops wouldn't think I had an intent to drive. I managed to download the Lyft app, made an account, and ordered a ride. This took me another hour in my state of being.
Dude, opening a Lyft account already takes like 20 minutes sober.
Dude, that's
so
what
that makes sense.
That is the part of this story that I am the most like on board for, where I'm just like, dude, I totally get it. I hate that shit. Nothing makes me angrier than having to create a fucking account for anything, much less when you've been drugged by some psychotic person and you're trying to escape.
And you have to like fucking put your ID and credit card number and fucking all that shit.
Nightmare. Fucking nightmare. Finally, the Lyft comes and I make it home. When I'm finally coherent enough to type out what happened on Facebook, I was overwhelmingly informed by my friends that is what a K-hole is, and I had had my first experience with ketamine. And the little caveat at the end here, again,
she sounds like a good mother. Dude. I just want to say.
Well, like the little like note at the end here is it's horrifying, but it's also somewhat reassuring, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So the last little bit here. The cops basically tried to shame me into feeling stupid like I was asking for it when I made the report. They are obviously never trained to believe the victim. So, again, that's not good. That is bad.
No.
But it's slightly reassuring to know that the cops are just as dicks to men as they are to women when shit like this happens.
Yeah.
So,
that's odd. I don't like that even more.
It's like, what were you wearing? Yeah. Oh, you were dressed like Spider-Man. She must have thought that was hot.
It sucks to say, and but men getting sexually assaulted by women is not taken seriously at all.
No, no, but also, I mean, it's good to know that across the board that they're dickheads, to everybody pretty much, because I assume they treat women a little bit more seriously, but at the end of the day, it is a thing where how many untested rape kits are there in this country? Like, it's most of them.
Yeah.
So at least, when it comes to this, their behavior is somewhat the same across the board.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even the cops that don't care about men getting sexually assaulted. True. It's just society in general.
True.
I've had stuff happen to me in the comedy scene that would get men canceled, but because of it's a woman, nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, Christ. So thank you to Captain Fatstrong for sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a crazy story.
To get
drugged with ketamine, I've never heard of that. Ketamine is the new popular drug, I've heard, that lots of people do, but I don't know. I've never done it. Sounds crazy.
Yeah, the most recent ketamine thing I saw. Have you seen You Can't Kill David Arquette, that documentary?
No.
Oh, buddy, it's fucking wild. It's on Hulu. It's about him getting back into wrestling because David Arquette famously won the WCW championship in 2000 as a way to promote the film Ready to Rumble, which we actually talked about with Ed Greer and Clee Wiggins back in the day. Me, Pat, and Goodnight. I can find that and I'll put it on our Twitter so people can see it. So if you want to hear our thoughts on Ready to Rumble, they are out there. But anyway,
the king with the worst finishing move in the history of wrestling.
Yeah, Oliver Platt. Hell yeah. But yeah, that happened in 2000. And basically everybody kind of was mad because the WCW championship, has a legacy that goes back, more than half a century. It was held by Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and all these important people. And then they put
Abraham Lincoln.
That's right. The inaugural NWA champion. And then they put it on David Arquette and people were pissed. And, David Arquette, for whatever reason, at the age of like 50 something, decided to get back into wrestling. And it's this documentary about him getting back into it. And it is, it's really interesting. Mainly, you see Peter Avalon, who wrestled for WPW quite a bit. I know Peter; he's a good dude. He was his trainer when he was coming back, and the whole thing is interesting. But they talk about how he's got some sort of brain issue where he has to get pumped up with ketamine to treat depression because he has such like crippling depression, and that's how they do it. And so there is a scene where it's like the most horrifying, second most horrifying. The most horrifying scene is when Nick Gage, almost cuts his jugular open with a light tube at the bootleg.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous spot, as they call it.
that one was bad. But the second most horrifying thing in the documentary is them shooting him up with ketamine and him slowly going down on the gurney because the drugs are like taking hold.
Keep up with the positive thinking because we're going to give the infusion of ketamine now.
Yeah.
So Yes. Thank you guys. This thing is so dope. I'm awesome. I love you so much. This is the fucking game, and it's so fucking dope. Wait, guys, ketamine. Oh, we are so, love is love, life is life.
Well, I'm happy you're happy.
No, but I want to. Stop it, motherfucker! No! Hey, stop! No! Okay.
Sir, listen to Dr.
Okay, go, guys.
And it is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, I guess that's less bad than being depressed.
Yeah, well, once he's like zonked out, I think, the thing is, like, once they pump you full of that shit, it like, it lets you.
It's like a sedative.
It's a sedative, and it kind of resets your brain, I think, a little bit. And he just has to go in and have this like done to him every month or something. Like it's it's pretty crazy. But highly recommend that documentary. It's very good.
Yeah, it sounds fun. David Arquette seems like he'd be fun to watch try to ruin his life or something.
Well, like, to his credit, man, he got in shape and he actually like learned to do it somewhat. So he was having some pretty good matches leading up to the pandemic. The funniest part, and I didn't know they do this, and now I kind of want to see it, is when he goes to Mexico and starts hanging out with the luchadors, and they do a thing to make money during the day where they stage lucha matches in traffic in Mexico City.
With like a ring or just on the street?
Nope, just on the street. So like, it shows this giant, like, it looks like LA or something, like an 8-lane street, and people are just stopped and the traffic is just backed up, and like while the red light is happening, the luchadors run out with like ladders and shit, and they jump on each other and do lucha shit on the pavement. And
damn, that sounds fun.
Dude, I was like, man, I want to go to Mexico City just to see it. It looks crazy. But David Arquette goes out there and like actually does a big spot like off a ladder, like does a crossbody off a ladder into like 3 guys, and then walks around to all the cars and doesn't make any money. It's just like, oh.
Hey man, we've all done those pass the bucket comedy shows. Sometimes it's not pretty at the end of the night.
That's a good point. Yeah, that shit's wild, man. Yeah, highly recommend that. You Can't Kill David Arquette is the name of that. So
nice.
But yeah, man, what else you got going on in LA recently? Anything?
I drove around Skid Row one night just to see the craziness.
One night?
It's really not that crazy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
It's really not that crazy down there. It's just people chilling.
Yeah.
They're just chilling at their house, but it's the street. Saw a guy pick up a hooker. That was fun.
Jeez.
I don't know. Sometimes you got to just go down to Skid Row and blast Welcome to the Jungle and just chill, dude.
Oh, shit. Did you watch the Hotel Cecil documentary? Speaking of Netflix trash.
No, I haven't been watching anything.
Oh, okay. They've got a whole documentary about the disappearance of Elisa Lam, who was that woman they found in the water tower on top of that hotel in Skid Row.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about her.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of it. They have a whole documentary about it, and they kind of talk about Skid Row when they're still kind of like, when they were like looking for her. They didn't know she was in the water tower. They were like, oh, maybe she got sucked into the life on Skid Row. That was one of the leading theories, was that.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be down there and be like, this is so cool.
Right. Like some suburban girl from Canada just gets to LA, is like, ooh, what's this?
I want to go where it smells bad. And people are starting fires in their tent to stay warm. That seems nice.
Oh, fuck. I got one last story here to share with you, Sam. This is from Bartow, Florida. A teacher in Central Florida found herself behind bars after police say that she fought a group of students outside of a fast food restaurant following a high school basketball game.
Damn, respect.
Dude, this is so cool. I'm not going to lie. This sounds awesome. NBC affiliate WFLA TV reports that the incident took place Friday in Bartow, where a group of students were involved in an altercation at the game. Afterwards, the group went to an area McDonald's to eat. At the restaurant, I'm going to try to say this correctly. Liquindea Clark, a teacher in Polk County and the mother of another teen who was allegedly involved in the first altercation, approached the group and began arguing with them. Clark was removed from the restaurant, but waited in the parking lot and allegedly began to physically fight the group. Police say that Clark struck one student in the face, ripped her wig off, and struck another student in the head.
Damn, she got her wig snatched by a fucking teacher.
Yeah, by a teacher. Yeah. Witnesses called police, who arrived and arrested Clark. She faces charges of child abuse in the case. Officials have not said if she will be suspended from her teaching position. I bet she will. What do you bet?
I mean, in theory, legally she should, but I don't think morally she should.
No, I just think this is great. I mean, look, this is the most extreme version of, did you ever see, I don't know, you grew up in Austin, which is way bigger than Auburn, but did you ever see a teacher buying beer at a grocery store or something where you're like, ooh, they're a real person? Okay.
Nah, not really.
That was the thing, because my town was so fucking small and everybody just goes to the one grocery store. So, you'd see oh, there's Mr. Thompson. He's buying a 6-pack of Heineken. Oh, but it's this reminder. It's oh, he's a real person kind of a thing. And this is,
if I ever saw a teacher, they were just seeming like a teacher. They're still just dressed in their school clothes, at the grocery store, buying healthy food.
But this is the most extreme version of that, where it's just this reminder of oh, she'll fuck you up. Fuck around and find out with Miss Clark.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing about this is she may have got arrested, but that kid is never going to live this down.
No, dude,
ever.
You're done. You're done. You got your ass kicked by the English teacher. That's awesome.
Yeah, at McDonald's, too.
You got your...
Off of school grounds.
You got your wig, literally got your wig snatched by Miss Clark.
Yeah.
It doesn't say what she taught. I'm really interested to know what subject she taught.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. I never understood how teachers just don't constantly punch students. I couldn't imagine interacting with 200 kids a day and being oh, that was fine. Nothing was irritating about that.
Dude, I actually had this as a question for you. What's the maddest you've ever either made a teacher or seen a teacher get?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I've never really witnessed anything too crazy other than them kind of raising their voice and getting very stern for a minute or two.
Okay.
I think they realized it was a bad idea to just go fucking crazy. I think they at least had some of that in their head, unless it's a gym coach or something. They're just allowed to yell, but also it's not as off-putting. For some reason, it's oh, they're supposed to be yelling at me because I'm lazy and thinking about soda, which they have told. No, my friend who lived in San Antonio said that the coaches, when they were doing push-ups and stuff, they would yell at them, "You candy ass, I bet you're thinking about soda right now," which is the funniest line that you can just say to any person all the time.
Dude, first of all, we weren't allowed to have soda. It was banned. You couldn't, you weren't supposed to have it.
They took it away from the vending machines in my school.
But whenever they made that decree, my 8th grade history teacher, Mr. Sweeney, who was fucking hilarious, it's still one of he had 3 different, because he was the basketball coach too, and he had 3 different kids in my class that he referred to exclusively as Pee-wee. He'd be put your eyes back on your paper, Pee-wee, and he would just scream at him shit. He was kind of like Mr. T, he would just yell at, just start yelling at people, and he was great. He was hilarious, but he would also take out a original Coca-Cola Classic every day at the beginning of class, right when we all sat down, and would just stand in front of all of us and just open it in front of us and then just drink it.
That rules. Yeah, it was always crazy to see a teacher doing something like that you're not allowed to do. You're just oh, this is fucking babysitting. We're not even at a place that matters. We're not learning fucking shit.
I remember
just trying to enforce us just to listen to whoever's in charge.
Mr. Sweeney, it was the best was because he was really easy to get off subjects. I remember specifically one time he was talking about Alexandria, like in Egypt, and he was like, oh yeah, right at the 1st century AD, Alexandria was, it was hot. It was one of the most popular places in the Mediterranean. It was kind of like the Las Vegas of the Mediterranean. Hey, did I tell you about the time I took the JV boys to Las Vegas and then would just start talking about a basketball game that he went to with the kids in Las Vegas, and that would take up most of the class. He was the best. I love that.
Dude, yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some teachers that I had, if you brought up their daughter or something, they're just spend like 15 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
There's one teacher that was so out of it. She was like definitely needed to be retired, but for some reason wasn't. And she was clearly like mentally not there enough to teach a class,
Yeah.
And she was one of the worst. Apparently, I didn't have her class, but everybody who did was like, dude, you can just get her off subject like 5 minutes in and you'll never have to do anything.
Oh, I love that shit.
She was like real out of it. People would just do terrible things in her class and she would have no idea. They'd be like fucking breaking up swag weed on the desk and she would have no clue it was happening.
It's oregano from my gardening class.
The craziest part is she would not notice at all. They wouldn't even have to come up with a lie.
Just like
I think she just sat at her desk and just didn't even stand up. She was that old.
Oh my God, that's awesome. My favorite Mr. Sweeney thing was because he was the coach, he was in tune with what was happening in PE, and we had PE the period before his class. And so, we'd always come in and he would ask us like, how are you guys doing in softball? Or how long did it take you to run the mile? Like he would like ask us about what was happening in PE. And one day it was weightlifting week, and so he made everybody tell how much they could bench.
Yeah.
So we literally went around and like said the weight that we maxed out at, and he got to this one girl, and he was like, Michelle, how much did you bench? And she was like, Coach Sweeney, I couldn't even lift the bar. And he was like, that bar is 45 pounds. What do you mean you couldn't lift the bar? She's like, I couldn't lift the bar. I'm not strong enough. And the next day we came in and he had gotten the bar from the gym and made her lift it. And she did. She actually did lift the bar. So
that's fucking twisted.
He's the best. He made her lift the bar in front of everybody. Oh, and he used to keep a shovel. That was the other thing. He just had a shovel in his class, and he would just pick it up and be like, don't make me do it.
Don't make me kill you and then bury you with the same shovel.
But in this case, this lady, Mr. Sweeney, it was always a funny threat with him. It was like, oh, haha, Coach Sweeney is always kidding. It's like this lady was like, no, I will fucking ruin you, kid. So one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's probably best that she went to jail, but also it's pretty funny what she did.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Fucked him up in the McDonald's parking lot. Love it.
I don't know what happened, but I'm sure it was self-defense, and I fully support her. I think we should start a GoFundMe for this teacher.
For her legal.
Get her a good lawyer.
Yeah. Sam, what's coming up this week on Shermed Out?
I'm not sure. We need to record the episode. Last week we were going to, and then it was the same day I did this, and I was like, I can't do another podcast. Like literally right after I stopped doing this.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think we did one last week, but I bet we're fine. We're gonna do something. Okay. Either today or tomorrow. The fucked up part is we're so stupid we don't even have a date that we release, like a day we release the podcast yet. We're still trying to figure that one out. So I bet as soon as we decide Wednesday or something, we'll be a lot better about this.
Okay, well that is what they say about gaining a following. It's release whenever you want. Yeah. So, oh shit. Well, Sam, please tell people where they can find you on the internet.
They can find me at Slam Harder, or they can find me at Shermed Out Pod.
Hell yeah.
And my Twitter is so good, I just post dog shit all day.
Oh,
I've decided I don't care about getting likes anymore, so I just post anything.
Dude, that's what it's all about, man. What was the packet thing? I was doing research all morning. Why is everyone making fun of people putting in packets?
Jon Stewart is apparently going to have a new show on Apple TV Plus or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh no.
And I guess there's just chances to send in a blind submission packet, and which
I read yours. Yours was very funny.
Thank you. I just thought it was fun. It was funny. I was just wondering how many people who were posting about it actually did it.
Yeah.
And just it was fun to do, I guess. Also, while I was trying to write the packet, I was like, man, this fucking sucks. I would hate to do this as a job. So that was fun to find out when I was doing it.
Man, I'll say this. I got a chance. I think this is up now on their regular feed over at there's a podcast out of Austin called the Psychic Dolphin Garage. And
all right.
I got a chance to be on one of their joke shows where they basically just have people, 3 or 4 comics on all writing monologue jokes. So I actually got to try my hand at that a couple weeks back. So check that out if you haven't already.
Nice.
It's pretty fun. I think I'm going to go back on there like in mid-March sometime, do it again. So
writing monologue jokes is fun for like the first 5, and then you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is funny about 20 people dying in a tsunami?
Yeah. Oh, mine immediately. It's like so hard to fight the urge not to just go incredibly fucking dark with all of them. So
yeah, I mean, that's what our jokes normally are. They normally involve something slightly fucked up in some way.
right. So, all right. Well, anyway, man. Well, this was fun. We'll do this again next week. And thanks for talking to me.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. See you later, man.
All right. Peace.
McDonald's is the place to rock. Yeah, it is a restaurant where you buy some food to eat. It's a good place to listen to the music. People flock here from all around to get down to the rock. Rock and roll McDonald's, rock and roll McDonald's, rock and roll McDonald's, rock and roll McDonald's. Rock over London, rock on Chicago. Wheaties, that's the breakfast of
Calling in now from sunny Hollywood, California, it's Rick Wood. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Rivers, how are you?
Man, I can't complain too much. I told you before we started rolling, and I kind of wanted to keep this floating throughout the 3 segments of our episode today about the teacher who got in a fight with her students in the McDonald's parking lot. And my first question to you, and I'm going to ask Carter the same thing when I talk to him a little bit later. What is the maddest that you've either made a teacher or seen a teacher get?
I don't think I've ever really pissed a teacher off that bad. I was kind of not a goody two shoes, but I was a quiet kid.
Yeah.
But mad. I always see them. They do that thing where it's like a 50-year-old man who's at the edge because he's like, you know what I mean? You hit that point where you're like, fuck, man, I didn't write that novel.
Yeah.
I bought the motorcycle, but I only take it out on weekends, and the wife is always on me about how dangerous it is. And these kids, they just look at me like I'm this useless old piece of shit who's past his prime. Like a teacher like that, and then some smart-ass kid who just won't listen.
Yeah.
He's like, go to the principal's office. He's like, I ain't going anywhere. What are you going to do to me? And the guy's sitting there like, I could kill you with my bare hands. I fought in a war that made sense. And you're going to sit in here and you're going to give me this. I should be able to crush your windpipe down to nothing and leave you in a field somewhere. But I have to sit and listen to this shit because I dedicated my life to public service under the delusion that I'd be enriching little pieces of shit like you. And that kid's just sitting there with this smug little look on his face and like a flip skateboard tied to his backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those guys like just turn purple. And it's like, damn, man.
But never.
This is a long way from the Korean War for this old guy.
You never seen any of them just break like a rubber band, like just start screaming?
Yeah, I've never seen any like shrill. Like there's something funny about a man who's screaming so much that he doesn't care that he's screaming in falsetto. You've just like had enough. Our computer lab guy, I saw him once, had to just throw someone out. It's Kid Bradley, who wouldn't stop. He had a weird voice. He talked really low like this, and he'd speak through like a Vox amplifier with a microphone. Welcome to the computer lab. And then this one kid was giving him so much shit. He just was like, out. I finally had to be out. But to know, come to find out, this was late 90s Virginia.
Yeah.
He was just a closeted, nice gay fellow.
Okay.
Who's probably under an immense amount of stress living in that shit heap of a community dealing with these little fucking turd kids.
Yeah.
So I could imagine deep down inside, he's about to have an aneurysm.
I went for a walk in the cemetery located next to the high school, just, to get some exercise a couple of weeks ago, and noticed that they had put in a new section where they had kind of cleared some of the land that sits right in between the barrier of the cemetery to the high school. So now, if you want to, you can be buried about 25 feet away from Miss Tolbert's typing class.
Hey.
So you said computer lab, and I was like, oh yeah, I really did think about that. I was like, man, that's like I hated that class, but it would be funny to be like, no, bury me right next to where that shit happened.
They should just bury people at high school. Like anyone who cares about it should be buried at it. Bury me where I peaked.
There you go. Oh shit!
Freeze me in the ice on the hockey rink when I want to be shredded up by a power stop into some opponent's face.
Well, speaking of getting shredded up, this is actually a pretty sad story, but it is also a thing that we have covered a lot here on the show in the last year, which is that I believe there needs to be, a national conversation needs to happen, and we probably need to stop doing gender reveal parties until we can figure out what the hell is going on.
They've become pretty lethal.
This is pretty. So, we talked about back in, I wrote this down actually, Corona Diaries number 22 and 79 both had gender reveal parties with deadly consequences.
With fatality.
Yeah.
It's never the parent that dies, though, right?
No.
Or is it sometimes?
No, well, in the case of California, they had the one where they set the whole mountain on fire and caused one of the most deadly wildfires.
Oh, that's right.
California
God,
history.
this kid's starting out in the hole. Like your college fund is already going to cleaning up your fucking parents' extra ass mess. I have limited sympathy for this stuff as someone who has vied for an unfair amount of attention throughout his life.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I always tried to make it like, hello, I made you something that you can decide is entertaining or ignore. But these people are like, we procreated. It's like, well, congratulations,
Authorities say a 26-year-old man was killed by an exploding cannon at a backyard baby shower gender reveal party.
See what I mean? Like, what the hell is this?
They have a cannon.
What kind of Pirates of the Caribbean gender revealed nonsense?
Evan Thomas Silva died after he was struck by shrapnel from the exploding cannon, which was fired to, quote unquote, celebrate the baby's pending arrival. I feel bad for the guy because he was just a stander by, I guess. But
yeah,
truthfully, if I go to someone's house, even if it was somebody I liked a lot, like if you were like, hey, I'm shooting a cannon in my backyard, I'd be like, Rick, I'll come to that, but I'm going to stand more than 10 feet away, which is how far away he was from the cannon.
How often do you shoot a cannon? Are you someone who has got a good track record of this being safely operated, or are you a first-time cannoneer here?
Well,
where'd you get a cannon? Did you build it yourself? Most cannons are not structurally sound. Has it been through an X-ray machine this century?
The homeowner claimed that he had purchased the cannon at an auction and had fired it several times before.
They always worked the last time before they broke.
But it
worked great last time. It didn't explode.
So either that guy is lying, or his neighbors were already going to kill him. If this guy's just regularly shooting off a signal cannon in the backyard.
I mean, I guess it's no different than the occasional super mortar firework that I hear in my neighborhood. I just accept that 3 houses down, there's a group of guys who will celebrate anything.
When the cannon was fired by the homeowner, police said it blew up, spraying metal shrapnel across the yard and struck Silva, who was standing about 10 feet away.
10 feet's too close for a fucking cannon.
Yeah.
That guy probably also thinks COVID's a myth.
Well, that's the thing is like they're having like I mean, I guess they specify that it was a backyard baby shower, but at the same time, it's like COVID's a great excuse to skip out on things exactly like this. I gotta say,
Yeah.
like
This
like listen, a baby shower is already a thing I never want to go to. So the fact that I can be like, hey, there's a disease, I'm not gonna go.
Yeah.
People
I
are
don't
like-
want to get anyone sick.
People are like, I get it, that's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if I've missed more things I wanted to go to or more things I wouldn't have wanted to go to. That's really the stock of your life you got to take. Did this pandemic, what did you average out? The missed events versus obligation shit.
Yeah.
If you had more obligations you missed out, I guess it's technically the win for you, but you need to reevaluate your life and come out of this thing with some firmer boundaries on what kind of shit you're willing to accept an RSVP to.
Yeah.
I do no gender reveal parties.
No, I have no time for this.
Remember when it was just cake?
Yeah. Now
That was the shtick. One of my first stand-up bits, what was my brother started having kids around the time I started comedy, was, a very early, before it was a very hackneyed subject. I hadn't even heard of one. I heard my brothers were doing gender reveal. I go, what the fuck is that?
yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, they're going to make a cake, blah, blah, blah. We cutting the cake. And I'm like, I told him, I was like, no, I'll send you some shit at the baby shower. I'm not doing this. It's like, we already did a party about the pregnancy. I don't care if it's a niece or a nephew. These are things that will only impact me later.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think you should be getting medical information about your wife's pregnancy from like a fucking baked good. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the messenger on the status of your child, your zygote's development or whatever the fuck's going on in there. I don't think that eggs, flour, and vegetable oil are the medium.
I mean, I almost would, pre-COVID, I'd be like, okay, if it's someone I like a lot and it's just cake, then sure. But when you start getting like tannerite and explosives involved, as cool as that is, I also don't want to be one of the witnesses on the news when you burn down San Bernardino. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I just thought it would be cool to see some fire, bro.
I mean, if the cake's good, if they're like, it's going to be a good cake, like, I guess I'll come eat a piece of the cake that dictates the news. Or delivers the news. But like, yeah, once people are like, hey, we're gonna, I'm like, how long before that Starlink satellite shit Elon Musk is doing is just some kind of baby announcement? Surrounded the earth with space trash to let you know we're having a boy.
Well, speaking of satellites, look, do you like that transition?
Yeah.
Rick has a fantastic band called the Earth Satellites, and they have a new record.
We sure do.
Yeah, so I figure we can kind of talk about the recording process in COVID, because I know that's got to be ridiculous and stuff like that, and tell us about it and all that.
Yeah, that kind of constricted some, because normally Carter Glascock of Ray Liotta's voice fame would be he's so good at impressions, it's infuriating. It's actually beyond. Usually when I used to do a lot of impressions, but Carter's so much better at them. And generally when someone's a little bit better, you just get jealous, but he's so much better at that shit that you're just I'm always in wonderment.
Oh yeah.
But he played bass on a couple of songs on the last record I did and sang and co-wrote a few. And then COVID it's weird. He was still in town for a while, and then in Alabama for a bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Just because of this shit, he didn't get to play on any of the new record. So I ended up playing a lot of the instruments. But Brian Cook of comedy fame, he played all the drums remotely. So I would send like tracks to him, and he would play the drum parts, and then I would like re-record the drum parts, and then send the tracks to Sugar Ransom, who would put, singing mostly on some songs, and she played some organ and guitar on the album.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then it would all get sent back to me, and then I would like, mix it and master all the finishing work. And then, over the course of, we started screwing around with that in March or April of 2020. And then by the time the end, like December-ish, we'd pretty much tidied up all the stuff. And it was just a matter of uploading it to the internet and waiting for it to process and come online.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's up now, right?
Yeah, it's called Feral Hearts, and it's on all the, iTunes and Spotify and Amazon and Tidal and Pandora and like 22 things I've never heard of. I'm always like, there are these like little sites like the indie record store of the, streaming music world.
Yeah. Well, that's like when you start putting out a podcast and you've just got a public RSS feed, it starts showing up on weird things where you're like, what the hell is what's Podbean?
Yeah. What's Deezer? Why am I on something called Deezer?
How did they even find me?
Deezer sounds like a guy you buy weed from in like Pennsylvania in 87. Deezer's probably got some swag.
Actually, Deezer would fit right in with the two guys who sold weed when I was in high school who were named Hot Rod and Chinatown.
Yeah, Deezer, Hot Rod, and Chinatown. That's a crew.
That's a crew.
They run this bird.
Yeah, they absolutely. If you want shitty weed, call Deezer, Chinatown, or Hot Rod.
These boys got the shakes.
Oh, yeah. Dude. I had a friend who one time, I guess I wasn't technically buying the weed. I was just in the car, which that will not stand up to any sort of court. But I went with a friend to go buy weed from Hot Rod. And Hot Rod somehow was under the delusion that if you sold weed in a paper towel, like wrapped up in a paper towel, it wasn't distribution because it wasn't in a bag, which I don't think that's true. I'm not a lawman nor a weed man, but it seems like that's still distribution. But anyway, he sold my friend basically a big handful of what I would genuinely say was about 30 to 40% seeds. And then the rest looked like pencil shavings. Like it was still to this day the most like fucked up looking weed I've ever seen.
One egregious pile of marijuana.
It really was. But we were in like 10th grade. So it's like, what are we going to say about it? So we sat there dutifully pulling the seeds out, which took for fucking ever. And when we finally got them out, that's when my buddy unveiled his newest contraption, which is his brother had dropped his cell phone in the water somewhere, like in a puddle or something, and it just fucking ruined it. It was one of those old school Nokias. So he decided to turn it into a stash spot. So
smart.
Yeah, it sounds smart. Like, and he did the whole thing where he took out the innards, and took out the battery, left the screen, so it just kind of looked like a dead phone. But of course it weighed, it used to weigh whatever, and now it weighs like half an ounce. It's really, really light. And also, it just reeks of pot. Like there's no sealing it in because you're just sort of clamping it into the back of it.
Potheads don't know. I remember when I was a teenager and everyone was getting busted with weed. I was like, how are these guys so dumb? They're not careful. They're always getting caught. And then during quarantine, at one point, I'd gotten like way too high all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't know it. Like I would have lit weed in my pants if I was talking to a cop or something. Like, yeah, I get how like becoming a huge stoner makes you completely oblivious to how obvious you've become.
Did you ever have in your local head shop, either in Wisconsin or Virginia, those homemade weed stash cans where it was like, it looked like it was a Pepsi, but then it pulled out and it was like, it was hollow in the middle?
Oh yeah. I would see that advertised as like a place to hide your money and shit. You're like, come on, who's getting now? In retrospect, I'm like, oh, this is for drug addicts.
Oh yeah. 100%.
That's great.
Yeah. They used to have Pepsi cans and they'd have all kinds of shit where it's like, it would like twist off and everything. Yeah. But
all of my drug use or, weed use has been like legal California. Like I've never bought weed. I've always purchased marijuana.
Right.
It's like, I get a receipt. I have a receipt for all the weed I've ever bought. And,
you've purchased flour from the what do they call it?
Yes, I purchased flour at the dispensary.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, some of this shit comes in like look at this.
What do we got?
You won't believe. I took the label off the can, but it's still fucking remarkably impressive. It
looks like an
jewelry.
iPod.
It looked. I got it at a place that looked like an Apple store.
Yeah, it looks like you bought like a new iPhone or something. It's got like a very stiff cardboard like cube box.
Yeah, almost like jewelry, and then a black jar.
Wow,
of drugs.
That's fancy. My God,
designer weed. That's one of the more ridiculous ones I've got. It was just like on sale on a website, and so I was like, I didn't realize when I got it, it would be like, this is the weed that you're gonna smoke at the Beverly Hills Polo Club while your wife blows a stranger in the restroom. Yeah, I don't know, but that's the vibe of it.
Well, speaking of good shit, this is from Warren, Michigan. Warren police say they are investigating 2 incidents involving a man defecating inside vehicles. So
Just randomly?
we've got a serial pooper.
Yeah, are these targeted acts?
Well, it's interesting. Police say that the first incident occurred shortly after midnight at Friendly Auto when the suspect defecated into a 2009 Chrysler Town and Country. That sucks because it's like, dude, you already have to drive a Chrysler Town and Country, and now there's poop in it. Like that guy, that's an unlucky person.
That's a Russian nesting doll situation. There's a turd in this turd.
It's like, I
bet you've opened up the poop in the back seat and find another little poop in there.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, that I have to move poop off of the seat, or then that I have to get on the seat and drive a Chrysler Town and Country.
At least in the winter, that's when I'd rather have my car shit in the winter in Michigan than the summer. Like, it's not going to stink up the car too much in the winter.
The second The second incident happened at Twin Tires on February 3rd at 5:13 a.m., which,
hey, early bird gets the turd.
Early turd gets the Chrysler Town and Country.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So he walked over to a white van. So another van. He's got a thing for pooping in minivans.
This guy probably got molested in a white van. That's usually where it happened. Remember in the 80s, there's always a guy in a white van giving out candy and blowjobs. You had to watch out for that monster. I never know if that was the truth. Was that a thing you heard as a kid? Like a white van was going to have?
Oh, always. Yeah, no.
I never met anyone who got molested in a white van from candy. It's always like their uncle or their dad or something more horrifying.
Yeah. This is like a really kind of weird reboot / sequel to a bunch of after-school specials involving white vans where it's Death Wish.
But revenge. Yeah, it's like It. The second half of It, except they go back and they just shit on the big spider. Oh, you want to live in the sewer, huh? We're going to all put poo-poo on you. We're going to put poo-poo on the fear clown. No! Yeah, I put some pee-pee on you too, Mr. Poo-poo Clown. They'll never defeat me.
Surveillance video shows the man leaving his vehicle, walking over to the van, opening up the driver's side door, and squatting down. So, first of all, lock your doors, Michigan, if you've got a white van. Police say the service center cleaned the vehicle at no cost to the owner. Okay, that's nice. And Warren police are asking for the public's help regarding the suspect. So, if you see a guy pooping in a van, they need to talk to you. Before we go, Rick, I was going to share this with you, and I've shared this with a couple of other people, but it's been a few weeks, so I want to read some more of these. I am at my parents' house in Alabama at the moment, and I, in a box about a month back, rediscovered my favorite book from when I was a child, Ghosts and Goosebumps, Ghost Stories, Tall Tales, and Superstitions from Alabama. And I definitely, when we can be in the same room again and pod again, want to do another Halloween episode with you, because we did one of my favorite episodes of the show, a Ghost Stories ep with you and me and Sam and Vanessa Gritton.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, it was the shit. But now I've got like a whole fucking book of ridiculous ghost stories. But instead of doing ghost stories, since it's, a little bit off season for that, I instead have been reading. My favorite thing about this book is about the last quarter of the book is just a list of superstitions.
It's just times the guy lost his keys. And the 5th time I lost my keys, it took about 3 days to find them. I missed my daughter's wedding. And my mother died after falling down some stairs. They were in the fridge.
It's literally probably 50 pages of superstitions, just a list.
Wow.
None of them are attributed. That's the funny thing, because the ghost stories all have authors, or at least, where they got the tale from. Jack and Olivia Solomon wrote the book, and they're folklorists. So they just went around Alabama, talked to old people. They're like, tell me some spooky shit that you know. And then they just collected those stories. And those have names. No clue where the superstitions came from. And there's some on here that you've probably heard, like if you step on a crack, you'll break your mother's back, like that kind of shit. But then there is also just incredibly bizarre ones. So I was going to run a few by you and just tell me what you think. So again, this is from Ghosts and Goosebumps. If a bird sings before breakfast, a cat will catch him and eat him before nightfall.
Damn.
So
that's pretty rough. That's the original "Don't talk to me before I've had my coffee." You keep singing before breakfast, the cat's going to eat you. Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee or the cat's going to eat you for dinner.
I think that one's especially weird because that just means that on the whole, cats are eating a tremendous amount of birds because birds.
Hell yeah, they are.
Birds are going all the time.
There's like a bill. They're not real anyway. Science experiment gone wrong.
And a lot of these are like, why did this get passed down in any way? Because it's just a thing that no one would do, but maybe someone did it. So this next one, if you burn a dead snake, don't let the smoke get in your eyes because it will blind you.
It's not superstition. It just sounds like a medical fucking... That's just like, I guess, heck, if it's like something you think is real that's not real, it's superstition. That just sounds like someone's wrong about something. That's like,
It just sounds disgusting. It's
tapioca pudding will give you the runs. Will it? Maybe you.
It just sounds like a bunch of dudes were sitting around a fire and a guy was like, dude, I killed a snake earlier. Hold on. And then he was like, oh, it wouldn't be funny if I threw this in the fire. And then he did. And it was gross. And everyone's like, please don't do that again. And that's where that superstition was born.
Just tell people it makes you go blind. I don't like it.
I just don't want to smell burning snake, please. Oliver, how many times have I told you?
You go blinder than Saul burning that snake in your eyes.
This is another very confusing one where you're like, I would love the story of how this got in this book, but I don't have that information. I just have this one sentence. To put out a fire started by lightning, use milk.
What? How much fucking milk do these people have? That's a silo at least.
That's so much milk.
Throw a cow at a tree that's on fire.
Like
what kind of nonsense?
Lightning starts like most forest fires. So yeah, you would have to have.
Yeah, that's a shitload of fucking. What is a milk lake? You can run one of those bucket helicopters through.
That's what I was thinking. I was imagining
a bunch of white people moonbathing around it. Fucking a bunch of Proud Boys playing beach volleyball. Suntan oiled rolls glistening out there in the, whatever.
So, similar to the snake thing, it just seems like that would smell bad. Like, please don't pour milk on a fire.
Burnt milk?
Yeah, we've pissed on a fire before. That doesn't smell great.
Yeah, one time I peed on a fire and then the wind blew it into a group of people's, like, eyes and shit. I mean, and it was like the end of a bender. It was a pee where they're like, Rick, drink water.
If a pupil drops his books, he will have bad lessons for the next day unless he stamps his feet all over the books. Fuck your books.
So if you drop your books, you got to beat them up.
Yeah, you got to dance on them.
Make me look like a nerd. I'll curb stomp your ass, you stupid book.
But then the thing that it supposedly cures is, having bad grades. So it's kind of, you're kind of at cross purposes there. You're like, well, I don't know. Yeah. I fucking hate school. I'd love to be kicked out.
Kick this fucking book's ass.
I best not dance on the books.
I elbow dropped a set of encyclopedias. Give me an A+.
I gave my trapper keeper the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, they call that the pupil's elbow. Your wrestling fans all owe me $1.
Hell yeah. And finally, and this is outstanding because I think I know what they mean, but I think it would have the other meaning of this phrase. To drive a woman crazy, sprinkle nutmeg in her left shoe every night at midnight.
That would fucking drive anyone crazy. You keep waking up with nutmeg in your left shoe, and you didn't put it there. Jesus fuck yeah! This list of superstitions is just like, and here's a little gaslighting here in case you need to fucking Ella Fitzgerald, your goddamn wife, Zelda Fitzgerald. I'm sorry, Ella Fitzgerald, Zelda Fitzgerald.
Oh God, I love
the abused wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald.
From Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah, he left nutmeg in her shoe. There you go. Here, you want a fun little superstition? Sure, Scott. Scott. What do you like to be called? F. Scott? I'm not calling you that. Scott. Sure. All right, every night at midnight, I sprinkle nutmeg in Zelda's left shoe to make her crazy. What? That's like what? Don't break a mirror, walk around a ladder, make your wife mentally ill using coffee accoutrement. Okay. Do you make hot cocoa in her stockings? What's wrong with you, man?
I do just love I think what they mean is like you put the nutmeg in the shoe and it's like to drive her crazy, like that would make her horny somehow. I think
it's like a Spanish, like a nut.
That's
nutmeg.
That's what I think it means. It's funnier when it's like to drive a woman crazy, put nutmeg in her shoe. You're like,
well, I mean, if you use Latin, it's meg 1,000 nuts. She's just walking around in 1,000 nut all day. Glaze me like a Krispy Kreme, you savage beast, and then you'll be pouring nutmeg in her shoe. Like, what's that? It worked.
Or hey, back to like early high school, middle school stuff. I think you can smoke nutmeg. It's like it's supposed to be psychedelic.
Oh, now if you eat like an insane amount, there's always a guy in junior high who like couldn't get drugs, but he wanted to be a druggie. So he had all these like these old wives' tales. He'd be like, listen, man, and it was like the risk was never worth like eat 40 pounds of nutmeg and the Pink Floyd sounds a little bit better. It just or shit like if you take the lid off of a mayonnaise jar, you gotta get Hellman's or Blue Ribbon. But it can't be Miracle Whip. That's a whole different thing. The tangy zip doesn't do it. It's gotta be real like eggs and oil mayonnaise, man. Like I just get Hellman's because, I worked with Hellman's for my brother, so why risk it? It's $1 more. And anyway, you just take, how it kisses the lid? Like when you twist it off, there's a little kiss. So no more. That's how much you need. It's not scientific, but that's the amount, bro. Like that little dollop in the middle of that brass lid. Now you put that outside in partial sunlight at like, in like late spring, early summer, when like the dew point, the relative humidity is like, hits the 70s without raining often. And then, you get the temperature up to like 79, 82. And then there's going to be like a film from the morning dew that's in that mayonnaise. Now you suck some of that up in a syringe and shoot it in your eye, man. I mean, you're going to die eventually. But before that, you get a little bit high.
There was always the smoking banana peels kid. That was always one.
Like, yeah, that guy's like, you don't just smoke the banana peel. You got to cook it in the oven, and then you got to keep scraping the shit off it. Then you cook that shit, and then it's like, Jesus fucking, just spin around in a field or something until you're dizzy and look at the sky like a kid does. You guys are out of your fucking mind with this shit. Steal your grandmother's prescriptions and see what happens.
Get an office chair and spin around while you're rolling down a hill. That's what we used to do.
Yeah. Open your heart up to an unkind person. There's a drug. Do that. Anything but this fucking nonsense of like, if you get all the skins from red peanuts and you get enough of those, it's like, oh my, you're just peeling peanuts all day.
Yeah. Go fight your students at a McDonald's, live a little.
Yeah. You want to feel like you're on PCP, beat up some little children.
A bunch
Fight
of
about
them.
10 to 15 kindergartners. You'll feel like you're jacked on fucking angel dust.
Christ.
Punching a kid while another kid hangs from your forearm he's just ballast at that point. He's nothing but it's a momentum. The momentum of another child to strike his peer. And bury them all in a sandbox. You'll never need to smoke again.
Oh shit. Well, man, this has been fun as always. Rick, please tell people where they can find you online and tell them again where they can find your brand new music album.
Well, the album is on Bandcamp if you want to buy it. I think they're the most ethical for money changes hands, and they're PayPal fueled, so it's pretty safe. So if you went to theearthsatellites.bandcamp.com, that's where you can give your money up. Otherwise, if you're like everyone else who just wants to stream, and then, I get a whole 1,000th of a cent for that, which I'll gladly accept, which is fine. I'm just happy for people to hear it, really. On Spotify, Rhapsody or whatever they're all called. Get it on Deezer. Be the first person to listen to music on Deezer.
Winamp. We'll get you on the Winamp.
We're on Napster. I bet we really are on fucking Napster. And I don't even know. Like, let me see. What are we on? Amazon Music, Angami, whatever that is. Apple Music, MediaNet, Deezer, Instagram, Facebook. I didn't even know you could buy fucking music there. I guess you could put her songs in your Instagram stories.
Chinatown.
Google Play. Yeah. iHeartRadio.
Hell
Claro Musica, whatever that is. iTunes. KK Box. Don't like the name of that.
Oh, no.
Submitted to NetEase Beta. Okay. Pandora. Something called SAAVN. Can't pronounce that.
Saving.
It's on it. Saving. Oh, yeah. They're saving. Say A, 2 A's. A. Clever. It's phonetic. Fuck these guys. Submitted to Spotify. It's on Spotify. 10 cent. So maybe it costs a dime. I don't know. Title. TikTok. I'm on TikTok.
Hey.
I'm not on it. But the band is.
Nice.
Submitted to Triller, and I guess Twitch has music now. So anywhere you waste your time like that,
Goddamn.
fucking go for it.
Yeah, definitely check out their satellites. And where can people find your Twitter and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I'm at Rick Wood on Twitter and Instagram, but the O's and Wood are they're the number 0 as a result of being late to the platform.
Oh.
Hey, but on Clubhouse, I got my real name, and I'm never on there because I don't know what the fuck it is.
Dude,
It's like
same
a
here.
podcast that everyone's just yelling at each other on, and no one's recording.
I'm on there too, and I gotta say, it just notifies me when new people are getting on there, and we've run out of celebrities, and now it's just been like, hey, this guy you did an open mic with is on Clubhouse, and I'm like, well, I didn't understand it, but now it's not fun.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay. And then they're like, they need to be let into the Clubhouse. I'm like, all right, I'll help out. And then they've already been let in, and now they have their own show, or they're anxious kids. And I'll hit their name just to let them in so that they can also not participate or whatever. And then instead I'll be sucked into a portal where I'm listening to 3 people talk about astrology or something. And they're like, hey, Rick's here. I'm like, no, I'm not here. I'm not doing this.
Rick, it's a pleasure to talk to you as always. Thanks so much for talking to
You
me.
too.
And we'll see each other again one of these days. Whenever I get back, man, we need to figure out a park podcast situation. That's what I'm.
Just everyone brings 20 feet of mic cord.
Yeah, I've been doing that here in Alabama.
Plug it into a mixer in the middle of a field.
Yeah,
and then you got 20 feet of headphone cable, and it's a big starfish of opinions.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to that. But in the meantime, thanks so much, man. We'll chat again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, dude. Bye.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do I, do I, do I, do I, do I, do I, do I.
Calling in now from Disgraceland Studios in East Hollywood, it's Carter Glascock. What's up, dog?
Hello and howdy. How are you? How are you doing? Goddamn it.
Well, I talked to Sam a minute ago, and as you know, I've been experimenting with energy drinks, and I just got crunked up.
I've been seeing the road you've been walking down, and brother, I gotta say, it's a rough road. All right, and I've lost a lot of friends to crunk. I know what you think. I know you think what you're doing is cool. I know you think what you're doing is, hey, all my friends are doing crunk. I'm gonna do crunk too. And I'm gonna tell you something, brother. I was mainlining crunk into my dick.
That was what 2005 was for me.
That's what 2005 was, man. Now I still got to put stuff up my dick, like constantly. And tell you, dude. But that being said, I'm happy for you. It's a journey
from the window to the wall of rehab. Okay,
of rehab. That's what they don't tell you.
Till the recovery drops down my balls.
I'll tell you what. 1 minute you're just sipping crunk, having fun with your friends at the trap concert, and the next thing you know, I mean, you're huffing paint.
But yeah. So you asked me how I am. I'm crunked up. I'm a little bit nervous because this one doesn't have the fake sugar. It's got real sugar in it, and like a lot of it. And so I just know there's a crash coming, and I don't, that sucks. How am I supposed to enjoy my crunkness when I know that eventually the sugar high is going to end and I'm going to have like a sweaty little nap later?
I mean, the thing is, for people who choose to live their life crunk, you don't worry about what's happening later. You need to be jacked up now, dog. You need to be jacked the fuck up on guarine And
Yeah. Oh, this one has.
I can't tell you how many business meetings I've crushed because I did a little tutor of crunk in the car before I got in there.
This has something in it called magnesium lactate, and I was like, boy, I didn't even know magnesium had tits.
Oh,
What? Crush.
I'm coming out with an energy drink. I'm going to call it Titty Cum. Because it's like, it's what you want, dude. It's like everything that you want. It's like, yeah, man, the can looks like tits.
They have one in England. We talked about it a while back. They have one in England called Pussy.
Maybe it's like one of those like cultural divide things where it's like, you know what I mean? Like they call like to us, like fanny means our behind.
Yeah, I mean, we still drink fanny energy drinks nonstop over here.
Yeah, I guess to them, pussy means like he's a real pussy. He's a cool cat, you know? It doesn't mean that you're being a pussy.
Our friend Paul, listening in England, said at some point he's going to send me some pussy in a can. So I'm excited for that day.
Maybe that's what it is, pussy in a can. Which, you know, is it good? I don't know.
I was also going to ask you about this. Sam and I talked about this, but I wanted to get your response as well.
Yeah.
So there was a story down in Florida where basically there was a big fight at a basketball game, and then afterwards, some of the kids involved in the fight went to McDonald's to eat, and one of their teachers showed up and started whooping their asses. Like they got the teacher.
What?
The teacher got arrested for beating a bunch of kids' asses at a McDonald's, and I talked about it with Sam because we're like, oh, that's, you know, it's probably good just for society that she was arrested, but low key, that's hilarious. Like you could never live down the shame of having, you know, Mrs. Raisa beat your ass, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I was going to ask you, what is the maddest that you've either made a teacher or seen a teacher get? Because I think this has got to be a record for the most pissed any teacher's ever gotten.
Oh, so the maddest I ever made a teacher, I was in drama class, right? In elementary school.
Whoa.
And
your elementary school had drama?
We had a theater class, or I think it was drama or theater or something like that.
Stella!
Stella! And I was a little ham back then. I wanted to be an actor.
Of course.
But, you know, they didn't have the same body positivity notes that they did back then. I was a big old fat boy.
Uh-huh.
So I got stuck on stage crew. And so I was and one day, and we hated this teacher. And she was just like, every stereotype you have about drama teachers was there. She's like trying to make this big production. It's like, I'm not working with a bunch of amateurs and we're all just children. And like
my favorite thing ever. Yeah. You've seen Summer Heights High, right? Mr. G.
Yeah. It's Mr. G. It's Amy Poehler and Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's all that stuff. And she really sucked. And so I would make fun of her constantly to this other guy. And I guess we were like joking around one day a little too loud or something. I don't remember what I said. And she like got so like flustered. She saw me talking to this guy off in the corner and she went, "Shut up, fatty." And like you could tell it like her mouth was trying to stop it from coming out.
Yeah,
she was just like, "Fatty." And so she had just yelled at a kid calling him fatty. Me. I wasn't hurt. I was like, "Ooh, you're in trouble." And like, this was right before we were let out. So like, this was the last class for the end of the day. I went straight outside and I told my dad, "My teacher called me a fatty." And he like ran inside. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Calling a kid a fat?" And she was just like, enough to where like she was like red in the face and couldn't make eye contact with him.
Oh,
and she was just like, I don't know. What? I don't know. He's like, "You got a real fucking screw loose." I mean, it was unbelievable when I laughed when she went, "Shut up, fatty." I'll never forget that. That was, and it was like one of those things where I'm sure she got drunk as hell later on that night. It was like, this fucking kids.
This
I hate
fat little shit.
you fat shit.
She's just throwing knives at a crudely drawn scribble of you on the wall.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, and as a roast, I was huffing down a box of Cheez-Its every day I got home from school. She wasn't wrong.
Hey,
but it's just like
those white cheddar Cheez-Its are they're on, you can't avoid them.
Oh, buddy, yeah. I mean, I was on a prescription of one box or two a day, and yeah. But she knew she fucked up too, and yeah, you just got to read the room. I didn't necessarily care, but I knew she fucked up, and I was like, "Ooh, I can get you in trouble."
we had when we were in fourth grade. I'm not sure if this teacher taught the fourth grade, but because we weren't in the class, but the big scuttlebutt that year was that this teacher named Mr. Wilmoth exploded on a kid and slapped her. Like,
oh yeah.
Like the kid was like bad mouth, was talking shit. And this is like the highest grade at the elementary school at the time was fourth grade. So that's how old, that's the oldest this child could have possibly been. And this kid pissed him off to the point where he fucking smacked her and he got fired.
What? Oh yeah, like as he should.
Again, as he should, but it was just one of those things of you're just like, wow, man, it was like a staggering achievement in in pissing off the teacher.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's such a shat-on profession anyway, not by kids, but by the state. And one of the most important professions, and it's shat-on, but it's like the same thing, unfortunately, for cops, where it's like the vetting process should be extensive.
Right.
And because they get paid shit, there is no vetting process. And it's like, it's like the same thing. So they'll just hire any fucking goofball with serious anger issues and doesn't know how to talk to people to be a teacher.
Yeah. Well, and also it's a lot of the same problem of everyone's lying to you all the time. If you're a cop, your job is to show up on a scene, and for 90% of that interaction, someone's just going to be bullshitting you because that's what humans do. That is our just...
Because they don't want to get in trouble. No one wants to get in trouble.
And teachers, it's the same exact thing. Teachers are just constantly, did you do this? Did you hit him? No. Okay. I saw you do it. Hitting that brick wall. But they do this ridiculous thing of like, but I want to hear you say that you did it. It's right.
He's not going to do it. Like, you just teach someone that this whole thing, like it's the same thing with cops. I want you to tell me that you did it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's different because they have to go through due process and everything, but it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, well, it's just the hiring practices.
Right.
When you hire someone unhinged to do a job that should require the most nuance.
Well, and I think even if you hire someone who is completely hinged to be a police officer or a teacher, within a couple of years, you just get this very misanthropic view of life where it's just like, you just look at, you go to a grocery store and look at the checkout line and you're like, every one of these people is a fucking liar. And that's how you view humanity. So.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point. The human psyche can only take it for so long.
Right.
And I think I completely agree with that. It's
cycle them out, like do 4 years on and 4 years off. How about that?
I mean, how much more dangerous is being a police officer in an area than it is than being like in the military? They should be afforded the same thing. Where it's like you
just have to do weekends.
Just weekends. We'll pay for college.
Right.
We know this sucks. We will acknowledge to you that this sucks.
Right.
And and not just like it's a career and you can get fat and comfortable in this job that requires the most nuance and patience and empathy.
When that teacher slapped that kid at my school, by the way, they, in the afternoons, if you had your car come to pick you up, all the kids would sit in front of the school and wait for their parents to pull up. And they sent the news there after the guy slapped the kid and got fired, and the news like was filming the front of the school with all the kids just like sitting out there, and it was like Dean Road Elementary School, a normal suburban school until today, and like they like flashed the screen red and shit. And I just remember we were super hyped because you could see me and my friend Nerm Sturgis sitting there flicking the camera off. we were in 4th grade and we had just learned about flicking people off. We were like,
oh yeah,
fuck you,
learned about flicking people off and how badass that is.
Oh, dude, we looked so cool flicking off the local Montgomery's news leader, WSFA 12, NBC Montgomery.
I don't know. I don't know when I've actually like flicked someone off earnestly. Like, I mean, I flick people off, and as you know, when you're in you go on a school trip and you're on a bus, you flick off truck drivers. That's like the last time I did it.
Oh yeah, that's like, the best.
The last time I did it, like as to be like "fuck you" to somebody, like I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever done it. Like if I was just like, I just grumble and be like, "Fuck you, hate you, everyone's out to get me." Like that, I turned into that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I've ever done it out of genuine anger. Usually it is just something funny to do in a car.
Yeah, I think the last time I did it as an adult, like I would see like Joe walking around LA or something, I'd flick him off from my car because it's funny.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is fun.
You see a friend, you see him out walking around, they don't have a car.
You honk and flick them off. Yeah.
Yeah, you shit on them for not having a car. Because that's what you do. And yeah, you flick them off and remind them that they need to step it up.
Fuck.
Oh God!
I've got a Nashville related story to share with you. This is this was actually sent in to us by our friend at Hiram Goldbug. Lulu, an 8-year-old border collie, will be living the good life in Nashville after inheriting $5 million in her owner's will.
I actually saw this that a fucking dog is going to inherit $5 million.
Martha Burton, Lulu's caretaker, told the station that Lulu's owner, Bill Doris, was a successful lawyer and businessman who wasn't married and died late last year. His will states that the money should be put into a trust for Lulu's care. It allows for Burton to be reimbursed for reasonable monthly expenses in the care of Lulu. Quote, "He just really loved that dog," said Burton, who was friends with Doris and would take care of the dog when he traveled. She says she doesn't know if she could ever spend $5 million on Lulu, but, quote, "I'd like to try," she said with a smile. And
wouldn't we all like to try? You know, it's funny. It's going to bring a whole new meaning to the whole, like, my neighbor's dog told me to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah, no. I mean, I'm telling you, this dog will not settle unless I get a hot tub put into my private jet. It won't. This dog won't do it. I'm telling you. It's just, you can see by that sad look in its eyes that it wants me to get a hot tub.
Well, so this is me editorializing, but this is what I wrote. Now, you might be thinking, wow, as much as I love dogs, in the grand scheme of things, they're pretty cheap to take care of, especially when you consider that $5 million could do a lot for people. Who was this asshole?
Yes. Talk about shitting all over your legacy.
Well, his legacy is not that great, Carter, because Doris owned land along Interstate 65 just outside of Nashville, where a controversial statue of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest is located. Uh-huh. Are you aware of the Nashville Nathan Bedford Forrest statue?
I've heard of it, yes.
Have you seen it?
I heard it. I heard it got defaced. It got defaced when I was living there.
Yeah, in 2017, it did get defaced. Someone poured, I think, pink paint all over it.
As they should. There's no reason for it to exist.
Well, here's the thing about it. If you haven't seen it, I have to show you this picture, and I will put this up on our Twitter so people can see it. The statue is fucking hilarious. If you gave me the assignment, you were like, Rivers, make the funniest statue possible of the founder of the Ku Klux Klan, I don't think I could make anything more unintentionally hilarious than the Nathan Bedford Forrest statue.
It's like if someone did like it's like if someone did like like the yard art where it's like made of car parts and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like it's if someone did that, but they put the face that the autopilot in Airplane gets when it looks like he's getting his dick sucked. It's like making that face. It's like this wide open mouth sloppy grin,
dude.
No eyebrows.
First of all, it kind of looks like it has its tongue out a little bit, so it's a little rock and roll, but like also
like a nutcracker. It kind of looks like a nutcracker a little bit.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks like a nutcracker hit a crack pipe, a nut crack smoker.
Yeah.
It's just
that's what everyone's brain turns to as soon as you smoke crack for the first time, is you turn into that statue.
And the horse, dude, the horse it's on is even hilarious.
Let me see that horse.
It looks like
it looks like a fucking dolphin.
It's so crazy, dude. It's like the statue has been. They put it up in like 1998, so it's not.
That's pre-defacement.
Yeah, that's pre-defacement. Like I said,
that's peak condition,
dude. Like, it's so funny. Like it's almost. Because, like, on the one hand, yeah, it probably should be taken down. Nathan Bedford Forrest started the Klan. It's not good. It's even worse that...
But I see what you're saying. If it stands as, like, this, like, testament to the... now it stands as an indictment of racism. Like if you leave it as a effigy to be mocked, then... and people get the town around it every year... Go hurl bags of shit at it. It's a cathartic experience.
This is from Gawker in 2015. They said, the statue is so hilariously stupid that we should keep it forever because it perfectly honors the Confederacy. And I'm like, I kind of half-ass agreed that the only thing that's like wild, or not the only thing that's wild, but one of the craziest things about the statue is that when they first put it up in 1998, the state cleared all of the land in front of it because it's on private land, but it's set, far enough back away from the interstate to where there would have been a row of trees there blocking it. The state of Tennessee was like, get rid of those trees. Everybody has to see this stupid thing.
Oh my God.
And so the state of Tennessee dug up all the trees so you can now see it from I-65.
You would turn it into a tourist town by having people come and hurl bags of flaming shit at the ridiculous crack-addicted Nathan Bedford Forrest. But, I mean, it definitely is like a sign of like, yeah, you got to move out of there as soon as you can. Soon as you can.
Yeah. Well, and it's perfect because, like, the little dog story is so funny because you're just like, oh, isn't that a kooky little news story? And then you just scratch the surface a little and you're like, oh, this guy's fucked up. Of course he left $5 million to a dog. He hates people.
Yeah, I've been looking at it, and yes, it's ridiculous, but I'm just trying to think, like, how do I marry into this dog? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Lulu, will you please marry our podcast?
I mean, like, here's the thing: dogs like me. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Dogs like me. So I don't know what I exude, but I've talked about it with Carly, and I'm like, look, believe me, it's for us. It's for us that I go and try and seduce this dog. I'm telling you. She doesn't see it that way, and it's a damn shame because it would change our lives to have a dog hump my leg for a second and then have the state be convinced that we should be in a partnership together.
Although Doris denied being a racist, he called slavery a form of quote unquote social security for African Americans. So he seems great.
You fucker. Oh my God.
But the guy who made the statue, because it's just Bill Doris's land that it's on. And by the way, it's like completely surrounded by, based on these pictures, I believe every flag of the Confederacy, like including battle flags and like Navy ensigns. Like it looks like they were just like, every single Confederate flag that exists, we want on a pole surrounding this horrifying crack smoking nutcracker motherfucking statue. But the guy who did the statue, his name was Jack Kershaw, and he was also an attorney, best known for representing James Earl Ray, the killer of Martin Luther King.
Wow, so he sounds like someone with a legitimate opinion on things too.
Right, and he's
by that I mean he's a fucking psycho. Yeah,
he's a fucking psycho, and also notably not an artist. Even though he's the guy who did the statue.
They say art is subjective, and Maybe it was. Maybe it is like a commentary meant to be an effigy to comment on the inherent absurdity of racism. But, maybe that's just me projecting. Maybe that's what you want to see and not what it is.
So
what I say about all good art, though, once you make it, you let go of it. It's not yours anymore.
Kershaw, the guy who did the statue, he at one point justified the memorial by saying, quote, "Somebody needs to say a good word for slavery." So that's that guy.
The cognitive dissonance. Like, someone needs to say something good about rape. We never talk about.
Yeah. It's
what happens when you literally shut. It's like, you're right. He hated people. And he had spoken this opinion to anybody. They'd be like, "Are you fucking high?"
Yeah. Well, and what's extra bad is that now that he's dead, everybody's like, "Oh, we can take the statue down now." And then it's like, no, he actually left $5 million to his dog and also a bunch of money to like a bunch of like neo-Confederate like shithead groups that are just going to keep it there forever, which as a hilarious piece of outsider art, it's one thing, but they should at least plant some trees to cover it from the fucking interstate. If I want to go there and take pictures and make fun of it on Instagram, I think I should be able to, because now that's all I want to do.
You really can count on one hand like the amount of actual viable art as intended from that ideology. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not good artists. I don't think they should try anymore. You know, I mean, but I don't know. It's very funny though, because everything, you get shit like this and Trapped. It's just not very good in a very hilarious way.
Well, I wanted to mention this before we get to the jam of the day. I wanted to mention that I thought I had a good idea for a jam of the day, and then I uncovered something horrifying. So I was flipping around the channels last night, and they were showing the Danny Clinch documentary about Bonnaroo 2004 called We Have Arrived. And I watched it because I was at Bonnaroo 2004. That was the first Bonnaroo music festival I went to, was in 2004, and I'd never seen the documentary, so I was like, oh, this might be fun to watch. And as I was watching it, first of all, the funniest thing about Bonnaroo 2004 is that was the last it was like the quote unquote farewell tour of Fish. Like, they were breaking up at the end of the summer. So like Trey Anastasio was there, and he was playing with Dave Matthews on the first night. And then he was supposed to close out the show. And it's like one of the most misguided, weird things that anyone's ever done at a music festival, because at the time he was getting really into writing classical music and like conducting an orchestra and shit. And so he came on Bonnaroo, and you've been to Bonnaroo, by the last night, you are the dirtiest you've ever been. And
you're coming down off 8 different kinds of drugs, and
all you want is to go home and take a shower and be in your bed. That is the main, because as fun as it is, it's I think it's Dr. Seuss, Too Much Birthday. It's Too Much Birthday. It's it's Too Much Birthday, and you want to go ho ho at that point. And Trey Anastasio, instead of just coming out and playing his crunchy guitar jams like with his band and shit.
Take us home, Trey, is all they're asking. Take us home.
Take us home. He was going to take us home, but not before doing what he did for the first set, which was bringing out the Nashville Chamber Orchestra and directing them. And he showed up in a tuxedo with like tails and shit and was like directing an orchestra, and just in pretty straight classical music, like nothing that there was nothing particularly psychedelic about this experience. It was just a guy with a big red beard conducting a fucking orchestra, and and they were showing it, and I had forgotten because I hadn't watched any footage of it, or anything. I had only lived the experience, and rewatching it, I was like, because they focused so much on how like that year at Bonnaroo there was just thunderstorms nonstop, and how just disgusting everybody was, and that was when it really came back to me. I was like, oh yeah, I remember, because I was such a Fish fan, such a Fish stan, if you will. I was standing there being like, no, this is cool. This is fucking cool. You know?
Yeah.
People.
No, it's so conceptual. It's like, who would be subjected to watching an orchestra without being seated? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who stands and watches an orchestra?
Yeah, especially with a man smoking like 7 bowls of opium, just one after the other behind me. I remember that. But I do remember saying to somebody like later, I was just like, yeah, I mean, you know, people got mad when Dylan went electric, but I got to see Trey go classical. So
dude, at least when I saw Billy Joel, he didn't even pretend to do anything but do the hits. You know what I mean? It's like, here's the same set list I've been doing since goddamn 1986, and you guys are going to get it, and I'm going to make this a 30-minute show. Let's go home. I don't want to be here.
I see the limb. I refuse to go out on it.
Yeah, I refuse to go out on it. Yeah, it says something, too, where it's like someone from Bonnaroo should have reached over, even though Phish is one of the most associated with music festivals, and it's particularly Bonnaroo.
Yeah.
Like, someone needed to tell Trey Anastasio that day, look, this isn't about you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're directing the orchestra, let's say Thursday night when people get there and it's like, oh, this is weird. But by Sunday night, it's just like, no, if I reject this out of hand, or at least normal people did. But anyway, all of that is to say, I was also reminded that I've still never seen Willie Nelson. And that is going to be a top priority, if we get back to a concert having time again to go see Willie, because I've never seen him. And I was supposed to see him at Bonnaroo 2004, but Willie had carpal tunnel and he had to drop out. And they replaced Willie with Steve Winwood, which even at the time I was like, what's Merle Haggard was still alive. Why couldn't we just get Merle in there?
Well, whenever I want to have Willie Nelson playing, but I for some reason or other can't do it, I always throw on that song, Feeling All Right by Traffic.
Yeah. What the song that was what reminded me of it, was watching that documentary, and I was like, Steve Winwood. I was like, maybe there'll be some crazy comments on the song Higher Love, because it's kind of his silly 80s song. There might be some fucking weird boomers being like, it'd be similar to the Glenn Frey "You Belong to the City" thing of like, oh man, I used to do so much coke and listen to this, dude. Then I started reading the comments on the YouTube video for Steve Winwood's Higher Love, and I kept seeing the phrase "No more brother war."
No more brother war.
No more brother war. And I even copied it because I was like, what? What is this? And I put it in the document, my initial, scratching out, see if there's any funny comments. And then I started seeing, do you know about the 14 words, the white supremacist slogan?
I think I've heard it mentioned, but I don't know what the words are or whatever.
So it's we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children are the 14 words. And I started seeing that a lot on the Steve Winwood comments.
What?
And I'm just like, what? And I also kept seeing references to something called Murdoch. Like, people just kept saying, Murdoch sent me here, and then saying, like, weird kind of fascist stuff. Again, all to the soundtrack of Bring Me a Higher Love. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And it turns out I looked up Murdoch, and this is from medium.com. Murdoch is an animated Nazi propaganda show. The main characters of the show, Dr. Murdoch and Murdoch Chan, wear Nazi uniforms. Each episode, they battle a variety of villains, primarily Jews and black people. So and apparently they used the song Higher Love by Steve Winwood in one episode, and the Higher Love is apparently the brotherhood among all white people, regardless of nationality.
Well, what a message of unity and inclusiveness.
Yeah.
Just white people.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry American Nazis ruined your comment section, Steve Winwood. It's a shame because you don't deserve this.
Yeah.
So Steve So yeah, Nazis ruined my original idea for a jam of the day, so I had to settle for this. Carter, are you ready for our jam of the day?
Oh, so ready. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, and that sound, of course, is Florida Georgia Line, the Kangs of Bro Country, with their song "Round Here." So, you're a Nashville guy. What are your thoughts on Florida Georgia Line?
Oh, I put them in the category of Bon Jovi country. I guess you could really call any music country if you put like a cowboy hat on it. It's like the most loud background music you could conjure. You know what I mean? It's like the most loud, boisterous background music you could conjure.
It is
like it's still not meant to be listened to on anywhere but like in a Buffalo Wild Wings or something.
Oh, you know what I was going to say? I think I've got the exact flavor of Florida Georgia Line. Florida Georgia Line is the audio equivalent of eating a fajita from a restaurant owned by a white person. That's you're like, oh yeah, it's got a little. I mean, it's not too crazy, but it's a little crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they call them extreme fajitas, but like, I also feel like it's, you know, like this. I'll put this Blue Moon really helps wash it down,
right?
And yeah, no, they are the equivalent of Southwest egg rolls, but they're not from the Southwest.
They are Southwest egg rolls. They're Okefenokee egg rolls.
It's literally riding that line of mediocrity of like people just assume like, well, someone listens to this, and the someone who listens to that are like millions and millions of people,
right?
It's the like we're in this like Twitter like echo chamber of like what Pavement's not one of the top selling artists of all time. It's like no, not in the slightest. Like they still have to tour to make money. Like Florida Georgia Line and people like that are like ruling the roost and actually making money off music.
Oh yeah. Well, let's get down into these comments here on Round Here. First up, Wolf Claw Gakcha 1 week ago. I remember watching this video when I was 4 and 5. My cousins Matthew loved it. Good memories. He never actually hurt me on purpose.
Oh, there it is.
What? I don't know why. I don't know why they needed to do that.
Wanted him to hurt me, I wouldn't have dressed that way. It's like, look, you gotta stop being around these fucking meathead abusers. You know what I mean? Florida Georgia Line is the soundtrack for that of the gaslighting dude, bro. It's like, look, you were a victim of trauma. It is time to step out of the shadow. You step over that Florida Georgia Line and start making peace with the past.
I just like that Wolfclaw assumes that we've all heard about how bad Matthew was to him. It was like, I know y'all heard that he RKO'd me through a table, but he didn't mean nothing by it.
Officer, he didn't mean nothing by it, officer. He's a good man.
Adam Sams from 2 months ago. Fuck.
That's short and sweet. I like it. You know,
a bunch of Y's. It's like 6 lines of Y's and then the word fuck.
Why fuck?
Fuck.
Fuck. Hey, I like it. I think, you know, why add to a perfect thing? I think that's stuck the landing. Well done.
Made with Real Diamonds from 2 months ago. I do not find this music abhorrent anymore.
What changed?
That's good. Yeah, what happened to you? What happened to Made with Real Diamonds that made you be like, you know what? Actually, I used to hate this, but now it's kind of nice with it.
Now, as I've taken this handful of pills, I can kind of see as I slip into this bathtub, maybe I shouldn't just hate things that people like. Maybe the world's mediocre tastes just passed me by. I don't know. Like, no, you were right. You were right to hate it, buddy. You got to hang on. Life sucks. In Florida Georgia Line, you're gonna have to deal with a lot more Florida Georgia Lines.
There was a tremendous amount of just syntax error all over this. Like, I mean, there's usually a little bit, but this was like
in a drunk way or a pilled out way.
I don't know. Or I'm thinking maybe everyone responding to this video is either 8 years old or on a tremendous amount of Klonopin, because it's this shit. For instance, Sandra Castillo from 1 year ago. Please take the trash out. And paranoid because this is a cost to snap. Me a slut. I am that so funny. I like this song. Who is the new country? And he's so nice. Thanks. Read image.
Oh, sorry, you kind of. That's when you go through these fast, it always hits me with a curveball. And the curveball this time was me a slut.
Dude, there was so much like weird caveman talk in these. Me a slut. Me angry.
But that's like a song. That's like me angry is there's intent. But you hear like when a caveman says me a slut, like it's being suggested. He puts his hairy foreknuckle against his mouth and he's like in a seductive way. Me a whittle slut.
And then he just eats a fucking raw like leg of some animal. Just me a slut.
Me can be a slut when me want to be. Thank you, Ugg.
Thank you, Ugg. So, Senor the Mimo Par from 1 year ago. God bless USA and President Trump and my beautiful fiance. I hate to say it, but I don't see a Trump sticker on either truck in this video, or an American flag sticker. Only real men with balls put a Trump sticker and an American flag sticker on their lifted Chevy trucks. So sorry to say, Florida Georgia line, you dudes are pussies. Come out and represent America or melt like the rest of the snowflakes. And what's funny about that is that this song straight up came out in 2013. So it would be crazy if they had a Trump sticker on their car.
But you know that they would consider, like, maybe we should go back in and digitally edit it to where there are Trump stickers on that car. Because look, our audience has been good to us. We don't believe in this shit, but we got to keep them happy. And if this fucking moron wants Trump, we can put Trump stick. We could have little Donald Trump's face on both of our eyeballs.
Hello, George Lucas. Is this Industrial Light and Magic? Hi, it's Florida Georgia Line. We need a big favor.
You mean you're trying to create a world? Okay, well. And here's the thing, dude. As I've come to find in my experience, if you don't have a Trump sticker on your truck and an American flag tattoo, then you don't got 4 balls. And I got 4 balls, motherfucker. And 2 of them is real big, and they hurt because I sit on them all the time. And it makes me hurt. But there's other 2 that is the man balls. Fuck you, Georgia, Florida place.
Well, you know, what's funny is I come to find out through this comment section and then doing a little bit of research that apparently a lot of people are mad at Florida Georgia Line because after the big country music festival in Vegas was shot up by the child porn addict with 1,000 rounds of ammunition, they went on record and were like, hey, maybe have background checks on guns. And everyone got so mad about it.
Oh, they said something that was like perfectly reasonable and made sense, and people were like, fuck you!
Right.
First of all, I don't believe that they believe what they're preaching. I think that it is crass commercialism, and they're just like, this is what fucking sells. So I kind of feel bad when they become the victim of their own making a little bit, because they're like trying to be like, hey, maybe people with firearms should be background checked. And they're like, fuck you! Like their fan base is immediately like yelp, scream, fuck you at them. And it's like, you know, they don't really believe. They actually said something they believe, and they're like, well, just got a reminder that I should never, ever speak my heart or my feelings about things ever again. And as rich as they are, it's like, boy, what a prison they are in.
Rick Gonzalez from 1 year ago. And I got to say, this might be a street joke. This might be out there. I'd never heard it before, and it killed me. Rick Gonzalez from 1 year ago. I'm like Chili's, man. I just want my baby back. Baby back, baby back, baby back. But for real. And I don't know if he means baby as in girlfriend or baby as in infant, but either way, it's pretty funny. Shout out to Rick Gonzalez.
But either way, it's for real. Yeah.
At the end, there's the but for real. No, seriously. I know I said something incredibly funny just then, but Seriously, I would like custody of my child.
As funny as I am, I would like to see the child that bears my name. I am being hilarious, though.
This is my favorite, just real drunk comment, I think. Someday Tactics and Knives from 2 years ago. What I love about you? You are mellow, even when making that dollar. Love the attitude, love.
Is this some shitty, like, LA casting agent?
I love the attitude.
Love the attitude. Love the attitude, even as you're making that dollar. Love the approach.
You are mellow, even when making that dollar. That's like almost like a stripper compliment or something.
You are mellow, even as you make daddy hard.
I absolutely love this one. Jacob Anus from 2 years ago. Bro, I egg houses all the time in my gray Honda Civic.
Oh, God.
Top to bottom, everything about it, golden. Jacob Anus, egging houses, to Honda Civic.
Honda Civic.
Love it.
I gotta say, as the owner of a Honda Civic, I appreciate this because it is the most bought car. Everyone has a Honda Civic. I don't even know if you know this, but you have a Honda Civic. Rivers.
Yeah, it's in the woods. It's like behind the house. You just have to look for it. Everyone's got one.
I took a walk through Carly's fucking neighborhood the other day, and I counted 8 Honda Civics, and 5 of them were the exact brand that I have.
Oh shit! Same color and everything.
Blue color. I mean, it's like I felt like such a fucking sheep. Like, well, this is what I get for not caring about being individualistic enough. Damn it.
Cannibal 3 years ago. This song makes me feel better. I just had my heart broken by someone I met 3 days ago, and I already love him. He has severe depression, and we talked through Skype, but he says his internet might go out forever.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I love, that's the best excuse to blow someone off I've ever heard. Sorry, babe.
My internet went out forever.
My internet is going to go away. They're taking away my right to the internet, so we can't hang out anymore. I'm sorry.
It's like, do you maybe, I don't know, pay your internet bill? No.
It's forever. It's gone. I don't.
It's forever.
It's been revoked. It's like when you go to prison and your voting rights get revoked. I broke too many hearts online, and so I can't do internet no more.
I mean, as we've seen from doing this bit, they certainly don't revoke your internet rights when you're in jail.
Oh no, definitely not.
When you're in the clink, all you can do is comment on YouTube videos.
Fell Boss from 2 years ago. I just love kicking back and listening to these, rubbing my man's beautiful bald head. His name is Robert Cobb. So Robert Cobb sounds like he's got a good situation going on. That sounds awesome.
He's getting the head rubbies on the red.
You just if listening to a shitty bro country is the exchange for cuddling up and getting a head rub, I don't know. I guess I'll listen to some Florida Georgia Line. Cue it up, jukebox. Let's have a Saturday night.
I mean, we don't know. This could be a cry for help. he blasts Florida Georgia Line, and he like sits in the chair, and he has like the oil ready, and he's like, rub it. Like, his name is Robert Cobb, and he lives on 3859 Main Street, and he made me do it. So what a great guy. You can find him here, and please help.
Elmo Bennett from 5 years ago. Man, the General is full of shit. I could not get an online insurance quote. General, kiss my ads.
Kiss my ads.
My ads.
I see what he did there.
Just love.
Wow.
I love a guy who's mad about a commercial no one else can see.
That's one of my favorites on here. The misdirected anger ones are some of the best.
Like, if this was an actual online suggestion box, you've put your complaint about Wendy's in the McDonald's suggestion box for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know how the wires got crossed, or because you're not discerning enough of an individual to know what you're doing from the day to day. All you can do is whine and complain. But yeah, this is where we find ourselves.
P. Eartham from 1 year ago. I am a huge fan and I love country music, but sometimes I wish farmers got paid like the singers do. People say that we farmers have a lot of money, but some of my friends are not even farming anymore because of milk prices.
goddamn, that's just some true life. Like, yeah,
Well,
the inequity of.
Except that who has ever accused a farmer that's not Monsanto of being rich? Like, being a farmer is like a classic, like, hardship. Like, if you're a farmer, your life is fucking hard thing. So I just like that they're being like,
It's true, yeah.
everyone's saying we're all rich and stuff, but we're not. I'm like, no one's saying that. Rain on the scarecrow, blood on the plow. John Cougar
That is
Mellencamp
true.
tells us this.
Yeah, no, there's never been that misconception that farmers are just raking it in. You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah, that is funny.
It might be that time. It might be time to take a seat.
What's this? Did you feel like you could cross the Florida-Georgia line without your pants on? You want to take a seat?
Crossing state lines to commit a crime. That's bad. You want to take a seat?
It says here that you want to, hey, I'm 12 years old. Have you ever tried a ZJ? Now, what is a ZJ? You want to have a seat? Can I have some of that pizza?
AC Doolittle from 1 year ago. I singed this song for my middle school talent show. I love this song. And here's how you know it's a cop. They wrote out the word hashtag. So they didn't use a symbol. They wrote hashtag best song ever. Hashtag you are my favorite. I mean, favorite song ever.
Would anyone like to sell me drugs? Hashtag drugs.
Yeah. Hashtag I want to smoke drugs, please.
Yeah, that's certainly a cop. Good catch.
Nick Olcutt from 3 months ago. I'm 12. Still remember the day this song came out. All right.
When did this song come out?
2013.
And he's 12 now. When was this comment?
3 months ago.
So it's 2021. So he was 2 or 3, like when it's documented that you don't make memories.
Right. I was wondering about that, though, actually. Like, if you had because parents just put the fucking phones in, like, kids' hands when they're way too goddamn young. What if you had a video of your second birthday party from the time you were 2 and you could just watch it every day? You would actually have that memory. That's weird.
That's actually, yeah, that could be like an antiquated notion of like, yeah, kids don't make memories till they're 3. It's like, well, we're also inundating them with information by the time they can hold something.
Right. And they can access that shit whenever. The last one in the Chris Hansen section, Millie Foglio from 4 days ago. I have been growing up to this song. 14 now. Hashtag FGL Nation. That's a cop, but that is like a weird, like, watch how much I've grown.
I've grown into a succulent,
I've grown
defenseless child.
Yeah.
I've grown so much in a way that makes creeps go crazy.
I got a few more here. This is a section that I'm calling I Don't Believe You. So Maddox Roberts from 6 years ago. Man, I remember hearing this song in a club and all the girls were loving it. Fucking awesome song. Fun to dance with babes to this song. That didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I don't believe it. Man, I remember one time I was watching this band and I was getting my dick sucked and I was eating 2 cheeseburgers at the same time. Like, that didn't happen. None of that happened.
This is another I don't believe this. Extra Weird from 5 days ago. I secretly listen to country and am scared that my black family will make fun of me, but listening to this song especially makes me not give a fuck.
That is some fucking Karen in Florida. Are we going to change people's minds?
100% that's what this is. Because it would be so strange. Like if I was like, "Whoa, what are you about to do tonight?" "Oh, I'm about to have dinner with my white family." Like, why did you say that?
Because representation is important. That you're white?
Right. It'd be one thing if they said at the beginning, like, "I am black and I like country music, my family," and then you went on, but then to push the black part to the beginning of family makes it so much weirder. My black family hates me for listening to cowboy songs. Like, no,
Isn't that crazy?
you are white.
You are also in your 50s. And you're like, we're going to change some expectations about the music that I like.
Bertie Ward from 3 years ago. One night, my mom and Big Jake got drunk on Fireball, and then they tried to get into the door at the same time. And when they did, my mom fell and broke her toe. And then she ended up sitting on the toilet the rest of the night crying, I broke my toe! First of all, I love that there's a Big Jake involved. That's hilarious.
Yeah, where was Big Jake? Why couldn't he help?
I don't think anybody, I don't know how large your mother is, but I don't think anybody should try to go in the door at the same time as a person named Big Jake. It just doesn't seem physically going to work out for anyone, besides
I mean,
Big Jake.
when you're all twisted up on what was it? They're twisted up on Fireball,
which gets referenced in the lyrics here, is why they're bringing it up.
Fireball truly is the Cavassier of white trash.
Also, it's like, help her. She sat on the toilet all night just screaming, I broke my toe. It's like, I don't know, man. Help her out. Do something.
Man, we was like, shut up.
Shut up. I've been drinking Fireball. You know what happens when I drink Fireball? I ignore you.
You know what happens when you on the damn ball.
People say that. Man, I'm on the ball.
When you're on the ball. I don't know. They should, though. And you can credit me and you can Venmo me every time you say it.
Yeah.
Say that.
And finally, Millard Fillmore. That's right. President Millard Fillmore.
Wow, from beyond the grave.
From 1 year ago. And this is going to take a turn that I really like. I met these two back in 2013 when they did a festival in Iowa. I won backstage passes based off a license plate contest, which I don't know. I guess maybe you had the funniest license plate. Like, look, I got through the Iowa DMV. It says Dr. Balls or whatever.
Yeah, it said it's wine o'clock or something.
So he gets backstage through this license plate contest, which Iowa people, I know we've got a couple of you. What the fuck? And then this is where the fun turn is. I was backstage hammered, and then I insulted both of them to their face about not being country. My buddy and my picture with Florida Georgia Line were the only two not posted to Facebook the next day. The long hair guy is super short and super sensitive about it. Also, good God, I miss the days of Brooks and Dunn and Montgomery Gentry. These two puffs wouldn't know a country song if it mushroom stamped them.
Well, I gotta say, I've never wanted to take up for Florida Georgia Line, but this guy sounds like a fucking asshole.
Had you ever heard the phrase mushroom stamped?
Yes.
That's new. I literally today, February 16th, 2021, is the day that Rivers Langley first heard the expression mushroom stamped, which means you hit someone in the head with your dick.
With your dick tip. And you smack them so hard in the head with your dick tip that it leaves an impression of the mushroom tip of your penis.
That just doesn't seem pleasant for anybody, but at any rate, that is Round Here by Florida Georgia Line, our jam of the day. Carter, please tell people where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me at Carter_Glascock on Twitter and Instagram, and you should listen to my stand-up album called The Crystal Pistol on Spotify, Apple Music, and it's sold on iTunes too if you want to give me some money. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, this was fun. We'll chat again next week.
Chat again next week, man. Good to see you.
That's going to do it for us today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rivers Langley. The best way to support this show is to head over to patreon.com/thegoodspod. Join the Tower of Power. It's just $5 a month. We got over 70 hours of bonus audio content and growing all the time. Plus, new members will get stickers and a very cool Goods from the Woods cloth mask while supplies last. I think I've got about 7 or 8 of those left. I'm probably going to order more just because they are very cool. Check us out on Twitter. I will retweet any picture I get of people wearing the masks that go out. But anyway, join us now over at Patreon. The second best way to support this show is to take a pause for the cause and head on over to Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. And also, tell a friend about our show. Let's spread the word. And please remember to always show the attitude of gratitude because, as Mr. Goodnight says, if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, Daddy, then fuck you. And now, here is Rick Wood and the Earth Satellites off their new album, Feral Hearts, out right now. Check it out on Spotify. Buy it on Bandcamp if you can. The song is called Material Child, and we will see you next time.
I'm not your revolver. I'm not your revolving door. Take me out of your supply chain. I can't do it anymore. I'm not your performer. Yeah, I don't wanna play that part. There are no delicate surrenders in a battle for a heart. You were a material child who was only ever walking away. I was an unknown soldier marching toward an early grave. I wish I'd have known that you couldn't be saved. Interrupted connection, church bells sounding along, until we're just smoldering rubble in each other's arms. Conspiracy theory, splitting the ends of our hair, connecting lines to imaginary dots, looking for something that never was there. You were a material child who was only ever walking away. Yeah, I was an unknown soldier marching toward an early grave. I wish I'd known that you couldn't be saved. Steps that I took with you, I wish we could walk them back. Broken heart mirror, deepening the lines on my face. Another 7 years of hard luck, hard rain coming down on our parade. You were a material child who was only ever walking away. I was an unknown soldier marching toward another grave. I wish I'd known that you couldn't be saved. But I'd have tried anyway.